Stay focused, man.
I'm just saying.
Focus, man.
We good.
I want us to do the right thing for this client.
Hey, y'all. I want to welcome you back to another episode of the RealT Podcast. I'm Kenny Donnell, my beautiful wife, Tanika Donnell.
Hey, y'all.
And we have missed y'all, but today, we have the one and only Maria Douglas, superstar agent extraordinaire, jumped into the game, is just
Has not looked back.
Hasn't looked back at all. So we're going to get a chance to talk to her about how she's doing it, the
That's
realities of real estate life. Mm-hmm. But first of all, thank you, Maria, for sitting down with us and just showing up. You look gorgeous.
Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate the opportunity. It's really an honor to be with you guys today and to be able to do this. So thank both of you.
Yeah.
Listen, if we could clone you, we would. So we are ecstatic to have you here.
Thank you.
Why don't you give us a little bit about your career, what you did before real estate, and how long you've been in it? Just give us a little something.
Okay. So prior to real estate, I am a clinical psychologist by profession. So,
Dr. Douglas.
Dr. Douglas.
Okay.
That is
She never makes us call her doctor.
I know, and she should probably.
I know, because we know some other doctors that...
I'm doctor.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No. So I did that for about 25, almost 26 years. I was a clinical psychologist in the Bureau of Prison System. Wow. So I retired about 2.5 years ago. Took the first year off and kind of really just relaxed and kind of sat on my back porch drinking my coffee, watching the birds sing. And then I was like, okay, what do I want to really do for fun? What have I always kind of had a passion for? What do I really want to kind of go to next? And that was real estate. So I went and got my real estate license. I've always just been intrigued by real estate and watching shows on TV and going to open houses. And I just know that real estate is the way to building generational wealth. Absolutely. And so I just really kind of wanted to get more into that and see how I could maybe use some of my skill set to help people in that area. So went and did that about 18 months ago. Got my license, and then here we are.
Ooh-wee. Okay, so hold on. I got some questions already. I don't think I knew this full background.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew it, right?
Clearly you didn't.
So, working with buyers and sellers and renters compared to inmates. Go.
Or is it the same?
It's really interesting because I have said that to a couple of people before. I mean, you don't think about it like that as being a clinical psychologist, but that's what I was doing. I was selling, right? I was selling a drug-free lifestyle. I was selling a criminal-free lifestyle. I was selling, hey, if you do things differently, if you think about things differently, you can have a different life. Take your medications, that will be an improvement. So I really was selling. I was just selling a different way of thinking and behaving and a different way of doing life. And so we just kind of pivoted to, instead of interacting with people on a daily basis, being sort of persuasive with.
Wow.
So when we mentor weekly.
Right.
And so one of my favorite things to talk about with you is your goals.
Yes.
So to a new agent, how do you...
Hold on. Before we get into this goals, we're going to stay right here on this prison thing for a second. Well, I know we're going to shift. But before we shift, because you think about it, that is a dynamic move, right? Where you got your degree in psychology.
Right.
You found yourself into the prison system where most people have given up on people. Like, if you're there, you need to be there. So what? It is what it is. Right. That's your problem, right? But you go into a dark place and speak light.
Yes.
Right? Why was you motivated to do that?
That's just kind of my personality, kind of the underdog, right? To always kind of go where, like you just said, not everybody else is going to go. And I loved it. And I think I was really helping people and changing lives. So that just kind of perpetuated continuing to do it for 26 years.
26 years. So you've seen a lot of things. You've seen, I would imagine, the unit change, the philosophy behind the incarcerated people, all of that shift and change in 26 years.
Yes. From a lot more of just punitive to a lot more rehabilitative, which was perfect as a clinical psychologist, because that's what my passion was, is bringing that skill and that way to kind of do things differently.
Yeah. How did you psychologically handle the emotions of people You know what I mean? Like, so you think about people who are incarcerated, and a lot of time people don't think about them from that standpoint, that their challenges, they're going through things, they have ups and downs, good days, bad days, like they still feel the seasons. Right. And from a psychology standpoint, I'm imagine sometimes it's hard to disassociate. Hey, I'm trying to work with you, but I still feel that you're feeling this pain. Like, how do you manage that?
I don't know that you really kind of dissociate. I think sometimes you are more effective when you're right there in the mix of it with them. So there were times when guys would have setbacks, and I'd come in on a Monday and somebody maybe had gotten high that weekend or something, and they're supposed to be in a drug treatment program. And we would sit down and kind of have those hard conversations of, you're going to get on the phone right now, and you're going to call your loved ones, and you're going to talk to them in front of me about what you just did this weekend and how you're telling them you want to come home, but your actions, you're not showing them that you want to come home. And that would be painful hearing some of the wives on the other line, or the kids on the other lines, or the parents on the other line. And sometimes, you got to kind of wipe your eye, because, it's very, these are people's lives, right? But that was why I just stuck in there for 26 years, even though a lot of people don't want to walk in those doors, because if you can help some of those people change their lives around.
So then, how do you find the strength to have those hard conversations? Because most people consider that's a hard to directly say to someone, you're jacking up, right? I'm not gonna say the word, but
Right.
And not only are you doing that, then I'm gonna love you enough to hold you accountable,
Right.
and then let's take one step further. I'm going to bring in what you love and have you share your actions. Like, how do you find that strength to do that?
I just think that's what I was kind of designed for. I think it was just a gift and a talent, and I found the right place to work with the clients that needed that sort of approach. Like you said, kind of that tough love approach. We were in this together. We set a goal. This is the program that you're in. This is my mission and your mission to get you to the other side of this and to get you out there, so that you can go back to society, be with your family, be productive. And so that's our goal, and that's our mission. And if we're messing up along the way, we're going to deal with that.
Wow. So it's a little late because you've transitioned, but thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your 26 years of wisdom gained and giving back to society in such a way, because nowadays we hear so much about people taking from society, right? Or so much focus on self, what you can get from people, and not so much what you can actually bring to the table and support people, especially a segment of society that many times we've thrown away. Right. So then you shift.
Yeah. I want to touch on something, though. In 26 years, you've also been a mother.
Yes.
And can you talk a little bit about that? Because I love your story. I love that you have, 4 or 5 kids?
Yes.
6?
Actually, I've adopted 6.
See, so let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I have 6 adopted kiddos. Didn't really think that there was going to be 6, but I was a foster parent for about 11 years, fostered 21 kiddos.
21?
21.
Come on, are you serious?
I'm scared to have ones that don't belong to me. Oh my God, 21.
Yeah, so fostered 21 kiddos, and then along the way, adopted one, and then kind of adopted a sister for that one, and then got a sibling set of 2, boy and girl. And then there was another sibling to that sibling set, and another sibling to that sibling set. And so before you know it, it was kind of a God thing, I think.
Absolutely.
That I've got 4 that are biologically related, so I wanted to keep those 4 together, and then 2 others, some separate families. So there are 6 kiddos that I've adopted over the years.
Isn't that amazing?
And
I just love that.
yeah, and then so I've got Jasmine is in college, Jacoby's off living independently, working full time. And then Trey is in college, so I've got 3 in college and 3 still at home.
Phenomenal. And I love how you sprinkle in what you're doing now. They help you with that. We see them a lot on social media, even creating businesses around your business. So why don't you talk about your oldest creating her business around your business?
Yes. So she has gone out, and I've taught her, to kind of do sign placement with me and kind of think strategically about that. She does a lot of the make readies for a lot of the rentals and some of the homes that I've listed. So her and I were just talking this morning about maybe taking a property management class, So yeah, it's something I think that they kind of get to watch and participate in, and it's gonna be good for them too to kind of learn and see that. And who knows where that will go career-wise for them.
How did that come about? Like, how was that something that she thought about? Was that something that you thought about? How did her starting that come about?
I think it's always been like whatever I'm kind of involved in, I just always bring the kids with. Yeah. So whether it's volunteer things that I've done or whether I've been like president of Rotary Club, they just come with me to the Rotary meetings and things. So it's just kind of natural. If I'm doing real estate, they're going to help me with the signs and put them in the car and load them up and learn how to do all this and where do I need and what do I need in my open house boxes, and they're in charge of putting that together for me. My oldest has even come with me one time to an open house and kind of been there so she could see how I did that, so she got to dress all professional and come with me and see how that whole process worked. So I think it's just a natural thing that as they've grown up, as I'm involved in community things or whatever I'm doing, they come along. So this is just another step to do.
You are amazing to me because I know a little bit about your history. Can you share the other things that you are a part of? Because you've been, clinical psychologist for 26 years, but you also are very involved in your community. So can you express some of the things that you do also in the community?
Yes. So like I mentioned, I'm definitely in the Canada Rotary Club for years and served as the a lot of those. We do a lot of community volunteer programs and things, so the kids always come and participate with me. They come see me speaking and things like that. And then I also ran for school board, so I'm on the Canada Independent School District School Board. That as well. So, and then also my kids and I volunteer at our local church and do a lot of things there. So yeah.
You guys are at the Potter's House in Fort Worth, correct?
Yeah, Potter's House in Fort Worth is where we go, and so we do some volunteering there. And I'm also the HOA president for our community.
So I'm like, Maria, when do you sell real estate?
It is amazing that you maximize your 24 hours, right? Between the things you do for community, the things I gotta imagine you taking time, somewhere in there you take time for you, right? Oh, yeah. The things that you do with your family, involving them, and then your business structure, right? How do you manage your 24 hours effectively?
That's where you both come in, because I like mentoring and coaching both of you and help figure that out. But again, as we were talking, a lot of those things, unbeknownst to me, ended up helping in the real estate business, right? Because I was just out there doing what I was passionate about, helping my community, being involved in those things. But all those now are people who also see me as a real estate agent.
Absolutely.
Right? So that certainly helped in that aspect. And then again, I sit with the two of you and get the coaching and mentoring of like blocking out time frames for what I'm going to do, whether I'm going out and showing, whether I'm doing some of the paperwork that's involved. And so just kind of learning, like you said, how do you block those times to fit that in with some of the other activities? But I think those other activities just enhance what I'm doing real estate wise. So I don't think they take away from. I'm always handing out cards, meeting people, while I'm doing the community service work.
Love it.
So managing your time, right, and incorporating your family and doing all that stuff, amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the success you've seen. Well, actually, before we even get to the success, the reality of the role. So compared to you decide I'm going to get in real estate, you take the classes, you do all those things, and now you're in real estate. What is the difference between, if there is, from what you thought it was going to be, what it actually is?
So from what I thought it was going to be to what it really is, I think I knew it was going to be a lot of work. I think I knew that. I didn't know exactly what type, so to speak, of how the day-to-day would look. You do have to be disciplined. So I think everyone says, oh, you get to be your own boss, so to speak. You get to have your own business kind of thing. But you do have to be disciplined. So you got to still, get up and go to those, meetings, and you got to still schedule things and get on time and make those phone calls, make those appointments. So you really have to kind of be a hustler in order to kind of make sure that you're doing the work and putting in the work. Because I could see where you could kind of get complacent of like, oh, this is just my thing, I want to start it new, kind of thing. And you can't do that, right? So definitely you got to be very disciplined. You've got to really put in the work and the effort. the parts that are similar is, getting to meet people. I mean, that I just really love that. I've met through real estate that move from different state, for example, and I've helped them, find a rental or whatever, and we're friends now.
Absolutely.
I've invited her to church with me. She didn't have a church home, and we've gone to church together. We just went to Oktoberfest together. So there's other.
Phenomenal.
That is so fun. That's so fun. There's coworkers that I worked with years and years ago. They now realize I'm doing real estate, so I've helped them sell their home and we've gotten reconnected again, and we went and celebrated. When we sold our home, we went to the opera together. So it's like totally, it's like all these cool friends through real estate, so to speak. Meeting these new people. So it's been really fun. I thought it was going to be fun. It definitely has been fun, but it's a lot of work too.
What is that day to day? Because so people come into real estate all the time, and they're like, I need a day to day structure, and there's programs. Your day to day. And I always say, good luck with that, right? Every day is different. What does the day to day look like, or how do you figure out how to organize your day?
The day. There's some things that I try to put in there first, like all the training that I'm going to go to. Those go on the calendar first, and then I kind of work around that. Then I'm just going to set aside time to make my phone calls on Chime. I'm going to set aside a time to do the paperwork, and then I leave a lot of blocks of time because I get a lot of phone calls. Let's go look at things, and I try to have enough flexibility that when people call, there's been times I've made contact with them in the day. They've got to move by the end of the month, like let's say, for example. And they're looking at some homes, and they've sent me some locations, and I've been able to schedule appointments that I'm going that afternoon or that evening. So I try to allow enough flexibility to do that. But again, you still got to block in some time to make sure you're getting all the other paperwork and kind of things done.
So how important do you think, back to my original question about setting goals and having mentors and coaches, how much has that really affected, you think, your success? Because I think you've been extremely successful in your first year and a half of real estate.
Yes.
Do you want to share with everyone kind of your goals and how you attack them?
Yes. That was one thing that I think was really helpful and enlightening with the mentoring. I just kind of was like, okay, I'm just going to go do this, right? Without really realizing, okay, what are we trying to accomplish? And you really helped me kind of set the path for that and what those goals were. Now, I will say that I have modified the goals as I've gone along. And so while I think it's good to have goals, one of the things that I've made sure that I've never done is like when I got to the goal, just be like, okay, good, I'm good.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's what I set for this month or this quarter or whatever. And I'm like, I'm done, I'm good. I was like, nope. I don't care. Just go mark that off the vision board and move on to the next goal and just keep raising the bar right? And I think by doing that, I'm like astonished myself with how many transactions and like how this like 18 months have gone, because I would have never imagined it. But I think it really is setting the goals, knowing where you're going, and like I said, ticking it off and making sure you're doing the work in between and just learn. It's going to show up a month or two from now.
Right.
So you cannot really slow down.
And I love that. And I appreciate you taking advantage of our coaching and our mentoring, because a lot of agents don't. I think a lot of times I can remember some of the conversations we've had. You came in one time and said, hey, do you think that I should pay, I don't know, it was $3,000 on this particular marketing? And I said, well, let's look at the ROI on that.
Right.
And, how is that going to benefit you now? If you had that same $3,000, what would you do with it differently? Because we've got to look at to make sure things are going to work out the way that you're envisioning them. Right. So let's take maybe that's not the time right now. So remember how when we did that? So it's great to be able to talk to different agents and understand the opportunities that they have and really dissect and make sure it is appropriate for where you are in your business right now.
Correct. Yes. Yes. That's very helpful. I remember another time, multiple times, I'll come in with an idea, and like I just met with Kenny the other day and he had this idea, and I thought that was a great idea, which you liked as well. But suddenly by the time I walked out, you had just embellished that idea and had 5 other things to do, and I was like, oh my gosh. And that's why I love the mentoring and the coaching, because it is a partnership. That you don't think partnership is, we're just going to go partner with somebody and go do something. But the coaching and the mentoring and the partnerships you develop are really all about synergy.
Yes.
And synergy is not 1 + 1 is 2. So I take my little idea and I take Kenny's skill and knowledge and expertise or yours, and it suddenly becomes like something else. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I had this one little seed, and what they came up with is phenomenal. And then just by doing the things that you suggested, it's like amazing how it just works out.
That's great. Now, what brokerage are you with?
What brokerage is talking about, Kenny?
Oh, I just thought I'd ask. I just wanted to make sure. So 18 months, right? 18 months. And what sort of level of success? Like, what does that number
Equate
look
to,
like?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 18 months, 26 transactions just this year. So
Just
Since
this year.
2023. Let's
since
be clear. That's
2023.
right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
26 transactions to date this year. So that's 10 months, right? We just started 10 months. And that is 3.3 million in transactions.
Nice.
That's phenomenal.
That's beyond phenomenal. I would have never
Where are you getting your opportunities?
really from all over. That was another coaching time that you and I set aside and taught me like what are the pillars and where do I need to kind of focus instead of just kind of haphazardly going out there and marketing or looking at everything and anything. What are the different pillars of the business? And then I just kind of analyzed that again for these last 10 months. Where have all those transactions come from? A lot of them for me personally have come from social media. A lot of those have come from friends and family, neighbors, TDR, referrals. Those have been kind of the biggest areas that I've gotten my referrals.
So Maria, I'm just excited to talk about social media with you because I think you've done a phenomenal job of getting your face, your name, your brand out there. Yeah. And a lot of agents are afraid to do that. So can you speak to a little bit about how you got started and now how you have morphed that into several social media platforms?
Yes. Yeah, it is kind of comical because I do remember as especially a house full of kids, right? So teenagers. And I was always like, people don't need to know everything you're doing on social media. Why do you want to put everything on social media, right? And then when I met with both of you guys, it was like, okay, social media is kind of very significant and very important. And so I just had to kind of jump off the diving board, And I remember a meeting with Kenny and he's like, post. And I'm like, I'm not that intriguing. I'm not that, what are you talking about? What can I possibly post about? But once you just kind of dive in there, now I'm thinking of Kenny often. I'm like, I'm posting 3 times today, and I'm like, I can't even believe it. And my kids are like, what happened to you, Mom? My kids are following you on TikTok and, you're coming up on my TikTok feed. What is going on? So you just kind of got to do it. You got, if it's, it is part of the business. It is part of the way that you got to brand yourself and market yourself. And really when you just kind of go with it, it's kind of fun. And now there's a million different ideas. Every time I'm doing, favorite small business shout outs is kind of what I'm doing currently. That's helping those small businesses. I love, those small businesses. So I'm, putting some information on that. I did a partnership with a lender and we did a whole series on various lender type questions, what kind of credit score do you need? How much do I need for a down payment? All the things I was thinking that as a consumer, I would want to know. So I got with my lender partner and we did that. So I put out multiple videos of that. I've got another coworker of mine from TDRealty. That's right. And her and I are partnering together and we're going to be marketing this luxury home. So her and I went out and did a video shoot there and we're kind of posting that. So now it's unbelievably comical because now I remember very distinctly telling Penny, I don't know what you're talking about. Post once a week. What am I going to post about? And now, when you make it fun, and you just kind of go out there and do it. I was joking with Kenny the other day in one of our sessions. The church, a little neighborhood church in Kennedale, has a flyer, has a little newsletter, and in the newsletter they have let's just do a fun little saying for people to read the newsletter and then find the saying. And so one week the saying was, Maria is the selfie queen. And I'm like, how did we get here? How did we get here? 18 months later that people have recognized I'm all over social media when before I was no way. So it's fun. If you just go with it, it's fun.
That's wild.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
I think you hit on it though. One, you don't overthink it.
Yeah.
And two, you talk about things that you love, things that are relevant to you. And I think a lot of times we overestimate or we exaggerate
Yeah.
how other people are going to perceive us, and usually it's in a negative light.
Yeah.
And so then we'll go and we'll try to do things that aren't real. People could tell real quick, right? Like that's not genuine. You stay genuine.
And
to
she's
what-
relatable.
Very relatable.
I mean, you're relatable as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a someone who's out here hustling, someone who's intrigued by what's going on. I mean, you have some really funny TikTok videos. I love how you go to your kids' school for like career day.
Right.
All of this is encompassing who you are. So you're not being anybody different. You're being extremely genuine. And like I said, relatable. And people are intrigued by that and they want to follow you. And I mean, your views are crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm just so proud of you.
So how do they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. It's Maria Douglas Realtor. I'm on TikTok as well, which is Dr. MD63. I've got a YouTube channel. Like even just saying it like sounds crazy, right? So it's on Instagram, so where would you like to find me? I'm out there.
Maria's like Deion Sanders. I ain't hard to find.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
We gonna find you.
Yeah.
So Maria, last question. And we ask everybody this question in some form or fashion, but when it's all said and done, when you have wound up your career, how would you define success?
I would say success is having fun while you're impacting other people's lives.
Love it. Yeah, you're definitely doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. You are truly a
Yes.
blessing to us.
Yes.
We love our sessions with you.
We look forward to them.
We absolutely do.
Thank you for representing TDRealty in such an amazing way. We're so proud of you.
Love TDRealty. I think it is just, it's an amazing brokerage, and I don't understand why everybody's not with TDRealty. Honestly, so
We don't
yeah.
either.
So thank you to you guys, because really me sitting here and the opportunities and the success that I've had is really because you have the brokerage and because of the mentoring and the coaching. So thank you to you guys.
Thank you.
She's just such a giver.
I know. Look at just all the way to the end.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you again.
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Hey, y'all. Thanks again for joining us on the RealT Podcast. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.